What's going on, guys? Sitting behind me, we have my 1997 Suzuki RM125 Supermoto that I picked up for $600 in a box about mid-March of 2024 with the intentions of just fixing it up and then selling it, getting rid of it. But I quickly fell in love with this bike. I love this bike. I don't really know why. I just love it. And so I put a little bit of money into it, mainly the motor, so that it was somewhat reliable and I could ride it around. But now that it's cold outside and there's ice and snow on the ground, I have now dedicated the past 2 months of my life to powder coating, polishing, refurbishing, and doing my best to clean up this bike and make it as nice and new as I possibly can. One of the ways I have been doing this is through powder coating. So behind me we have what is my fire hazard of a homemade powder coat oven. And I've been going through and powder coating all these parts. So the color scheme of the bike is kind of going to be all over the place. It'll have yellow plastic, so it'll still be a banana bike, but there's going to be some black, there's some gold, there's some purple. It's going to be all over the place. I think it's going to look super, super sick. So I guess let's get into it. So no better place to start than the wheel set. So for this build, I ended up going with a set of KKE wheels. They're more of a budget-friendly supermoto wheel set. They were originally gold and black, but I wanted the gold and purple so that it'd match the rest of my bike. So I ended up taking them apart and powder coating the barrels purple. So all I have to do now is just reassemble and true them. Well, I'm going to be real honest right now. I'm not having a good time at all rebuilding these wheel sets. Normally, when I've done it before, it's taken me around an hour and a half per wheel, and I normally get the entire job done within less than 3 hours. I have currently been sitting here with the front wheel for about 3 hours now trying to true it up, and it just is fighting me every step of the way. For now, I'm going to leave it like this. I'll show you how straight it spins. Like you can see, it's not the worst amount of wobble, but I'm normally able to get all of that out. So for now, I'm going to put the front wheel down, and I'm going to begin working on the rear wheel. I'll probably end up coming back to this, but for now, I'm just getting too mad at it. So we're going to get the rear wheel up here, lace it up, and do my best to true it. Alright, it's a new day. That wheel set was giving me a bit of a hard time, so I'm just going to go through and begin working on getting the frame put together, and at least get kind of the frame together, swing arm, everything, triple clamps, shocks, everything on there, and then worry about the wheel set. I'm still waiting on my tires and some other components before I can actually mount the wheel set up on the bike and get everything to a rolling chassis. So in the meantime, I'm going to get my frame all ready to go. So let's work on that. Well, my GoPro ate the footage of me installing the swing arm, so oh well. Alright, there we go. We got the forks on the bike now, and I do have to say I love this purple and gold combo. I think it looks incredible. Hoping it comes through as good on camera as it does in person, because this looks absolutely incredible. Now, as some people might notice, I have not rebuilt these forks. These forks, I have no idea, other than, like, loosening the bleeder screw on them, I have no idea when these things were last rebuilt. Building the bike like this is very expensive and very time-consuming, and you kind of have to save money somewhere. I decided to save money on the suspension side of things and put all the money into the engine, frame, bearings, whatnot, getting all that solid. So in the future, as I ride this bike around, I will be modifying it, fixing it, and doing small things that I'm not currently able to do right now, and suspension being one of those. So don't worry, I know that I'm riding around on however old suspension. I don't know. I'll have to address it later, but for now, we'll just continue building. I scrubbed up the shock, did my best to clean it up, but it does appear to be very stained, and Ideally, I'd either vapor blast it or tear the entire shock apart and then Cerakote that, which I currently don't have either set up right now. And you're never really going to see that part of the shock, so for now I'm not going to worry about it. Again, when I get through and start fixing stuff like going over and rebuilding the suspension, I'll worry about that later. But for now, it's got all the mud off of it, so it can at least be clean when I mount it up. I currently have it sitting inside drying off, so in the meantime, I've got these nice purple powder-coated foot pegs, so let's get these thrown on the bike. Alright, bars are all set up. I got my clutch lever on there, and I got my front master cylinder right here. I really didn't do that good of a job cleaning it up just because I'm planning on replacing this. The 97 and the 90s RM135s have notoriously spongy brakes, so I'm planning on upgrading this. Plus, it's also a supermoto, so I'm going to put a bigger caliper on there, bigger front master cylinder, so it's really only temporarily here for me to ride it around. I ended up going with a set of ODI Ermig lock-on grips. I do have to say these grips feel incredible, a lot better. I was used to using like the $15 waffle ones that rotate on the bars no matter what the heck you do, unless you like tie them down with lacing wire. So these grips are definitely an upgrade. Kind of excited to see how they feel. They definitely feel a lot better just sitting here on the bike. So my shock should be done, so I'm going to install that now. I ended up returning to the nightmare that was the wheel set, took my time, and got them spinning nice and straight. Alright, well, I just temporarily tossed the wheels on the bike. I'm still waiting for the front tire to come in, but come on, that looks absolutely incredible. The gold hubs, gold bars, gold frame, and everything, that just looks so freaking sweet. I especially love the rear end right there with the purple rim, the purple sprocket, the purple brake, the purple swing arm, the subframe, and everything. And this has got a gold hub in the center. I think that looks so cool. Even the front end here, with the purple barrels and the gold hub. It was definitely worth the rebuild because this just makes the bike look that much better and the color pop just this much more. So I'm going to have to move on to something probably more engine related because the engine needs a little bit of attention. But, I mean, come on. That thing looks absolutely incredible. Alright, fresh meat showed up in the mail today. On the front, I'm running a Michelin 2CT, and in the rear, I'm running a Dunlop GPR 300. Instead of going out and doing my own research about tires, I decided to just copy. This is the same tire setup that Two Stroke J used. I don't know the next thing about tires. I really don't feel like going through and doing a whole bunch of research. So I just did the easiest thing and copied him. So let's get these things mounted up. well, I just did the front wheel off camera, so that's all looking nice. This thing actually is looking like a bike, and I think I've got the hardest part over, which is the wheel sets. I was really not looking forward to that, but you know what? It's done now. They're together, everything's right, so we're going to work on the engine next. So right here we've got the motor to my 1997 RM125. Give you a little bit of a history on this thing. When I bought it, I literally just threw a top end in it, rode it around, crank immediately blew up, pull it apart, put a new crank in there, riding it around some more, transmission went out, so I went through and ended up rebuilding the entire bottom end of the engine. New seals, gaskets, everything, all brand new. Riding around again, and then it ended up locking up. When it locked up, it also took out the crank. So I ended up going through, pulling it apart, putting a new crank in there, and then boring out the top end. I get 40 millimeters over, if I remember, 40 millimeters over stock bore. So as far as this engine goes, all the internals are brand new. Bottom end has maybe 20 hours on the bottom end, and then the top end has maybe 10. So as far as I'm concerned, the entire motor right here is good, but there is a few issues with it. Biggest problem is down underneath here. That right there is not stock, and I need to pull that out and drill and tap it, because otherwise it'll leak. It's currently been leaking, so I'm just going to go through, drill it out, tap it, and then we should be good. So let's drain the oil out of there. Alright, well, I've got some bad news about this drain bolt right here. You can see that there is not a whole lot of material for me to actually be able to go through and drill and tap that out to a larger size. I'd have to TIG weld this. So I really don't want to do it, but I'm most likely going to end up reusing the old drain bolt. I'm going to see, though, because it didn't have any seal or crush washer on there, I'm going to see if I can find or make a crush washer that'll hopefully help it seal. Believe me, it's not what I want to do, but I don't think I can go through and tap that drain bolt out without having it crack or not properly seal. Alright, I ended up just going through and putting an O-ring, a small O-ring, and stretched it out. Hopefully this should help it seal some, but left with no other choice, I installed the roached drain bolt with the O-ring, and surprisingly, it didn't seem to leak. Seeing that the engine didn't leak, I decided to reinstall the engine inside of the frame and get everything nice and tightened down. Alright, there we go. We got the carburetor in there. Everything's all tightened down. All the motor mounts are tightened down. Got the radiator hoses on there. And I have to say, this thing is looking absolutely incredible. Alright, this thing's looking pretty awesome. I think I'm going to end the video right here, though. Next video, I'm going to be finishing up the drivetrain, electrical, plastics, graphics, all that. Everything else that I didn't do in this video. So, yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. This did take a lot of time and effort. So, thank you for watching. I do have big plans for 2025. I've got a couple other bikes to build. I'm going to finish up this bike, and I'd like to continue to work on and hone in my riding skills, you know, not just stunt riding, but overall just riding. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I've got big things planned. So yeah, for now, I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.